Hey there, my sixth graders. Today, I promised you that I would do a video over one of the most important lessons that we're going to learn this year. This is also one of the most challenging ones that we're going to have, simply because it's using skills that you've had to learn over the last couple years, but you're putting them all together in addition to some brand new skills that you've never done before. What I have done in this video is I have written down every single step that you need to follow in order to complete these problems, and I will also print them out and give them to you to put into your journal as well. You'll see right here that this goes with lesson 2.3, and the title of this particular video is going to be Steps to Follow in Order to Compare and Order Rational Numbers that are in fraction or decimal form. Now, I'm going to go over the steps first, okay? As I move this up, you'll see that I have listed a total of 7 steps that you guys have to be able to complete for every one of these problems. The first step is to read the entire problem and underline keywords to be able to answer the question that's being asked. The second thing is, once you've read the problem, write down all of the original numbers given to you in the problem, and they're more than likely going to be a mixture of decimals and fractions. Then the third thing you'll have to do is identify and rewrite any decimal numbers that you don't have to convert, because remember, the whole point of this is to order and compare them, and the easiest way to do so is to convert all the numbers to decimals. We don't want to do fractions, we want to do decimals. So rewrite the decimal numbers that you've already been given, because you know you don't have to do anything to them. Then you'll know exactly which ones you do have to convert. The fourth step, using our celebrity benchmark number line or by using Top Dog in the House, convert all of the fractions to decimal numbers. Then fifth, you're going to draw your number line. Once you have your number line drawn, you're going to plot all of the decimal numbers on the number line. But this is important. That's why I have a star beside this next sentence. When you do plot those decimal numbers, make sure to label the points in the form of the original problem. So like if you do a conversion of 3/4 to 0.75, make sure on your number line you write down the fraction 3/4, so that when you put them in order of least to greatest or greatest to least, you're putting them in the original form that the problem was. Then last but not least, follow the directions. List the numbers in order requested, from least to greatest or greatest to least. Now that's a lot to absorb, and I know that. That's why I'm going to give you these 7 steps in your journals, but I wanted you to have those written down. Now we're going to follow these exact steps to complete a problem. Okay, kiddos, here is our problem. Order these fractions or decimals from least to greatest. So that means on our number line, we're going to start from the left-hand side and read it like a sentence, going from left to right. The first step said, read the entire problem and underline key words to be able to answer the question being asked. Well, I underlined least to greatest. So those are the key words I needed. Second of all, write down all of the original numbers given in the problem. They're going to be a mixture of decimal and fractions usually. See how I have all 6 numbers written down. This is the original problem. The third step was to identify and rewrite any decimal numbers that you do not have to convert. Well, as I'm looking right here, I have a 0.3 that I don't have to do anything to. I have a 0.85 I don't have to do anything to. And I have a 0.09, which I do not have to do anything to. But I have 3 fractions there that I'm going to have to convert. What I want to do now is the step 4. Using our celebrity benchmark and equivalency number line that we've done in class. You should have 2 or 3 copies of this already. You need to convert all of the fractions to decimal numbers. Now, if I look right here, the first fraction that I want to convert is 2/5. And if I look here on my number line, I see that 2/5 is right there. The equivalent decimal to 2/5 is 0.4. So I'm going to change 2/5 to 0.4. Now let's look for 3/4. As I look on my number line, do I have 3/4? Yes, I do. It's right here. That's 0.75. So just by you memorizing and using your number line, you already solved 2 of the conversions. 3/20 is not a celebrity. It's not going to be on this particular number line. So we have to use top dog in the house. That's what our previous video was on. So let's do that real quick. With 3/20, 3 is our top dog. It's going to go inside the house. 20 is the bottom dog. It goes on the outside of the house. Once I get my top dog and bottom dog inside and outside the house, I'm to put a decimal and bring it directly up above using tick, 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 boom. And I'm going to add a couple zeros just to get me started. 20 does not go into 3, but 20 does go into 30 one time. That gives me a remainder of 10. Then I bring down that next 0 and I have 100 now. I know that 20 goes into 100 5 times. That's 100 with a 0 remainder. So my equivalent, which means equal, my equivalent decimal to 3/20 is 0.15. Now that I have completed step 4, which is to convert all of the fractions to decimals, number 5 said, draw my number line. So I'm going to draw a number line right here. If I look at these numbers, it looks like all of these decimal points are between 0 and 1. So that's how I'm going to label my number line. I know that 0.5 is in the middle, so now I just have to label the rest of them. 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9, and 1. And then go ahead, just so that we don't have any confusion, label them so you'll know exactly where to plot the points as you go. Now we have to do number 6. Plot all decimal numbers on the number line. When you do, make sure to label the points in the form of the original problem. Okay, so here we go, guys. Where am I going to plot 0.3? It's going to be right here where 0.3 is on the number line. In the original problem, was it given to me as 0.3? Yes, so label it as 0.3. Now I have 0.4. I'm going to put a dot right at 0.4. But do you see how the original problem gave me the rational number in the form of a fraction? I want to do that. That's how I'm going to label it. Now I'm going to have to plot 0.85. Well, it's bigger than 0.8, but smaller than 0.9. It actually is right smack dab in the middle of those. And because the original problem gave it to us in decimal form, I'm going to label it 0.85. The next one is 0.09. That's not quite yet to 0.1, so it's going to be right before 0.1. And because the original problem gave it to us in 0.09, that's how I'm going to label it. Now I have 0.75, which is going to be halfway between 0.7 and 0.8, but in the original problem, it was given to me as 3/4, so that's how I'm going to write that one. Our last one we have to plot is 0.15. 0.15 is going to be halfway between 0.1 and 0.2, but I have to label it 3/20. I have just completed step 6. Step 7 says, following the directions, list the numbers in the order requested. They want us to list them from least to greatest, which means we're going to start at the lowest side on the left side of the number line. That's the littlest number, and work our way to the right. So we would list those numbers like this: 0.09, 3/20, 0.3, 2/5, 3/4, and 0.85. That is least to greatest. But just for the sake of argument, let's say that it wanted us to list them from greatest to least. What would we need to do differently? Only one thing. We would start at this side of our number line and read it backwards. So our biggest number would be 0.85. Then we would have 3/4, then 2/5, then 0.3, then 3/20, and then 0.09. Guys, that is how you solve these types of problems. Good luck and keep striving.